Welcome to Echoes of Faith, where stories of hope, grace, and redemption come to life. Each story is a journey of faith, a testament to the power of God's love, and a reminder that no one is ever too far from His grace. In today's story, The Promise They Kept, we witness the quiet strength of a husband's love, a love that endures through time, memory, and sorrow. As Eleanor's mind fades, James holds fast to the vow they made before God. Their story is not just about aging, but about faithfulness in its truest form. Take a deep breath, settle in, and let this tender story remind you that love remembered is love that never truly fades. The sun peeked over the edge of the horizon, casting a soft glow across the modest brick home nestled at the end of a quiet street. Inside, James Whitfield moved slowly through the morning ritual he had repeated for years, grinding the coffee beans just right, warming 2 mugs, and setting them gently on the small table by the window. Only one would be used today, just like yesterday, and the day before that. "Good morning, sweetheart," he said softly, placing a kiss on his wife's forehead. Eleanor stared ahead, her gray eyes clouded by time, her fingers resting in her lap like leaves after the fall. She didn't answer, not in words, anyway. James pulled up a chair beside her, stirring cream into her coffee. "It's Tuesday," he said, as though they were planning a trip or a grocery run. "You always used to water the plants on Tuesdays. I already did it for you. The lavender's still blooming." Eleanor blinked slowly, her gaze drifting toward the light. Her once sharp wit, her radiant laughter, even the way she used to hum hymns while folding laundry, had all become whispers in her mind, easily scattered by the wind. But James remembered, and so he reminded her. They'd met during a church potluck in 1972. She wore a yellow dress and served the best macaroni and cheese James had ever tasted. She said she liked his smile. He said he liked her spirit. She laughed, and he knew right then. They courted slowly and married quickly, tying the knot beneath the old oak tree behind her grandmother's house. Their vows were simple, homemade, handwritten, sealed with a kiss and the blessing of an old Baptist preacher who quoted 1 Corinthians 13 with tears in his eyes. The early years were full of patchwork blessings, jobs that didn't always last, a leaky roof they fixed together, a hand-me-down car that only started if Eleanor prayed over it first. Still, their joy was abundant. Their firstborn, Marcus, came 2 years in, then Carla, then Devon. Their home echoed with laughter, piano lessons, scraped knees, burnt cookies, and late-night prayers whispered over sick children. They didn't have much, but they had each other, and enough faith to stretch across every trial. "I'll never leave you," Eleanor had whispered during one of the hardest nights of their lives. They had just buried their 3rd child, Devon, after an unexpected heart defect took him at 6 months old. James had folded into himself with grief, but she took his hand. Not in joy, not in sorrow, not in sickness. That day, they lit a candle at church and made a promise to carry each other through whatever life brought. 51 years later, Eleanor didn't remember the candle or the church pews. She didn't know her middle name or the names of her grandchildren. Sometimes, she didn't even know James. But James knew her, and he remembered enough for them both. Their children were grown now. Marcus, a teacher in Nashville, came home once a month to help around the house. Carla, the youngest, called every morning before work. The grandkids visited when they could, busy with college, careers, and lives of their own. "You don't have to do it all, Dad," Carla had said gently, watching her mother stare blankly out the window. "You've already done so much. Let us step in." James only smiled. "I promised her," he said, "and a promise made before God is one you keep." That afternoon, as the wind rustled the curtains, James pulled out a worn photo album. It had Eleanor's handwriting on the cover, "The Whitfield Years." He opened it and began reading aloud, pointing at pictures even though she couldn't follow. "Here we are in Savannah. You hated the wallpaper in that bed and breakfast." He chuckled. "Our 25th anniversary, that red dress I loved." He paused at the next page. "Devon's tiny hand. That was the day of his baptism. You cried the whole time." James wiped his eyes. "You always cried at holy things." He glanced over at her. She blinked again, slowly. Then she turned her head, just slightly, toward the photo album. James froze. "That's right," he whispered. "You're still in there, Ellie. I know you are." That evening, he sat beside her bed, their fingers laced together. Her hand felt so small now. "You used to say love was like a garden," he murmured. "You had to tend it, water it, pull weeds, be patient." He gave a soft laugh. "You always were the patient one. I just followed your lead." He looked around the room. The quilt she made for their 40th anniversary was still draped over the back of the couch. The photo of their family reunion last summer, the last time Eleanor had smiled freely, still sat on the shelf. "I miss hearing your voice," he said, "but I'll keep showing up, even when you don't remember me, because I remember you." Then, in a moment so quiet it felt like heaven paused to listen, Eleanor moved her lips. James leaned in. "I remember the vow," she whispered, barely audible. Tears welled in his eyes. "I do too," he choked out, "and I'll keep saying it with my life until the Lord calls us both home." The next morning, the coffee mugs sat side by side again, and James told her about the sunrise, the blooming lavender, and the love that still lived in every corner of their house. Later that day, as the warm, golden light filtered through the curtains, Eleanor's breaths became more shallow. James grasped her hand and softly hummed their beloved hymn, "Great is thy faithfulness," just as he had done for many years. She didn't speak again. Her eyes, just for a moment, met his. And in that quiet, sacred moment, she passed away peacefully. James sat by Eleanor's side, his hand still intertwined with hers, feeling the weight of her absence settling in the room like a heavy fog. The hymn lingered in the air, a bittersweet melody that had once filled their home with warmth and now echoed through the emptiness. As the afternoon sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the room, James found himself lost in memories of their life together. The laughter, the tears, the countless shared moments that now felt both achingly close and impossibly far away. He pressed a gentle kiss to Eleanor's forehead, whispering words of love and gratitude for all they had shared. And as he sat there, surrounded by the quiet stillness of their home, he knew that her spirit would always be with him, guiding him through the lonely days ahead. With a heavy heart, but a deep sense of peace, James closed his eyes and let himself be enveloped by the memories of a love that transcended time and space. They had kept the promise, not perfectly, but faithfully. And now, only one mug would sit on the table. But the love? The love would remain, forever. In a world where so much fades, it's comforting to know that love, real love, endures. James and Eleanor's story reminds us that devotion is more than a feeling. It's a choice made daily, even in silence. Until next time, may your heart be anchored in hope and your promises wrapped in grace.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. Remember, no matter what fires we face, faith will always carry us through. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to leave a comment. Subscribe for more stories that inspire and uplift. This is Echoes of Faith, where every story brings hope. If today's story moved you, be sure to discover more heartfelt journeys in the Echoes of Faith series and uplift your spirit. Don't miss out on the next chapter. There's always more to uncover.